how Heroku, or basically how to use Heroku for compliance, security, and cost integrity.
Yeah, so we can actually use Heroku from if you're looking at compliance, you can actually you have private spaces or shield private spaces, essentially
Mm-hmm.
network isolated spaces. Okay. And let's look
Mm-hmm.
at how quickly you can actually create a network isolated space to get started. So say your application wants a network isolated space. So you don't want to have a multi-tenant system. You can call it test space. You can just provide it a name. I'm just providing a test space name. I can choose between the two runtimes that we have, Cedar or Fur. Fur is our next generation runtime that gives you an option to choose between CPU and so on, different CPU sizes when it comes to your Dynos. But Cedar is our traditional runtime, and you can choose between the various regions that we support our runtimes in. Both of these have the various similar regions when it comes to supporting the runtimes. This is where it's a point and click. Your standard isolation versus your high shield, high compliance isolation is a point and click. So if say you just want a network isolated space, you can just go with the standard isolation. It's your network isolated space. You're not sharing that with anybody else. So it's dedicated to you. Shield, on the other hand, is if you're in a high compliance industry, in fintech, in medical fields, you can actually use a shield, HIPAA compliant shield space as well. It's as easy as just choosing which isolation. And one thing that you noticed is logging is in shield compliance. You can actually drain the logs to your log drain. So we don't drain it internally. So essentially, all your data lives within where you want to live, want it to live, and that's why it is highly compliant in terms of HIPAA. Let's for this purpose of this demo, I'm just going to choose standard, and I just go create space, and that's about it. You have created a space. One thing that you did bring up is auto scaling. I have this app that we just deployed called Sample App Link Node.js. One of the things it's running is a web dyno. It could run different types of dyno. I can pick different types of dyno that I want. It's running a private M dyno right here because it's part of a private space, which is network isolated. I can go all the way up to 2XL, but I can also say I just need a private M dyno, but I need to just auto scale it to the number of dynos that it can update, auto scale to. And I can set a high and a low for auto scaling as well. So my low is 1, my high is 10. I can actually just say save. And it's going to basically go all the way up to 40 units. So that's it about enabling, auto scaling. One of the other things that we talked about is rollback. If I deployed this and I want to roll it back, I can just pick a timeline in my log activity log and say roll this app back to this specific version of my app. So that it's as simple as that. So you can just say roll back to this timeline, and it should roll back the app to that specific timeline. I don't want to roll it back here because we already are in between the demo, but that's how simple it is to enable auto scaling, create your private space, shield or private, and also roll back your deployment.
All right. So for industries like BFSI, healthcare, and public sector, like speed is not as important of a metric as compliance is. And what we can really see over here is that I mean, compliance isn't something that is passed on to Heroku as a platform, but it's something which is all baked in with, right? It's built into the platform, which helps us do network isolation, encryption, audit logging, access controls, all of these things. And I think all of this is possible with the help of private spaces and Heroku Shield, right?
Yes, and one of the things that we can keep think about here is compliance need not slow you down.
Yeah.
That's what one of the things, right? Heroku empowers you so that you can move fast yet be compliant because we are taking care of all the compliance for you. You don't have to say, oh, I need to get this compliance, so let's slow down and get things done. Right? Heroku takes care of that for you.
Yeah.
So you can still move just as fast. We have had customers who started with one app and gone to 8 apps in about 3 months, which is really, really quick. Like you're starting to deploy more apps, but we take care of all the compliance. Then some of them deployed in Shield, some of them they have deployed in a private space, some of them chose, hey, I just want to use a common runtime. So it depends on the not just the customer, it also depends on what type of app you're building and do you really need that network isolation for all your apps. And you can mix and match. So you can have some apps in part of your network isolated space, which is a private space, some part of Shield, some are in Shield, some are in common runtime. You can all of these can live together in the same Heroku account. That's the beauty of Heroku.
Would you like to throw some light onto like the basic difference between private space and Shield for the audience which really do not understand what it really is?
So Shield essentially is our highest compliant, you know, network isolated space, right? If you think
Mhm.
about it, it's HIPAA compliant, so access to it is highly regulated. So your app cannot just interact with the wide internet. So if you think about it from if I were to explain it in the DMZ, non-DMZ, and then this is the lockdown environment. Your Shield is essentially your lockdown environment that only a certain amount of apps can have access to, and you are guarding each and every piece of equipment that gets access to that data. So your data is highly secure in terms of PII, and it's encrypted and all of that good stuff.
Got it. So, I mean, I think this is exactly what every CIO is looking for. They want to get apps rolled down as soon as possible, but without the compliance lag or the legal lag that they typically encounter when serving into particular industries.